just joining in, get into a comfortable seated position, and we'll get started in a few minutes. If you have a strap or a belt handy, you'll want to have that close by because we'll be working on shoulders today. And just begin to calm your mind and relax your body. Bringing your focus to your breath, inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And if any time a thought pops into your mind, just bring your focus back to your breath, back to your breathing. So get into a comfortable seated position. Your legs can be crossed in easy seat or out in front of you as if you're in staff pose. And then just begin to relax your shoulders, relax your back. Place your hands on your lap. Your palms can be facing down for grounding or facing up to receive energy. And gently close your eyes and bring your focus to your breath. Inhaling in through your nose, filling your lungs up with air. And then slowly exhaling out through your nose, completely emptying your lungs. Remember, this is your practice, so do what feels right for you today. Each day is different. If a pose doesn't feel right, just come out of the pose and wait for the next one. This is your practice. Starting from your head, begin to relax the body, relax the mind. Working down to your shoulders, your upper back, mid back, and lower back. Relaxing your hips, your legs, all the way down to your feet. Breathing in, take a deep inhale in through your nose and hold, and slowly exhale out through your nose. Another deep inhale. And slowly exhale out through your nose. One more deep inhale in through your nose. And hold. And slowly exhale out through your nose. And we're going to do 3 deep inhales in through our nose and slowly exhale out through your mouth. Take a deep inhale in through your nose and slowly exhale out through your mouth. And do 2 more with your own breath. And then go back to your regular breathing. Gently open your eyes and take a deep inhale. Reach your arms up overhead, reaching out through your fingertips, palms facing each other. And then turn your palms facing out and exhale. Slowly release your hands back down to the mat. Inhale, reach up, arms overhead. Really elongating the spine. And slowly exhale, bringing your fingertips down to the mat. And one more deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And then on the exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Slight bow to your head. If you'd like to set an intention for the practice today, you can do that now. And give yourself some gratitude for coming to your mat. And then release your hands by your side. Take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Interlace your fingers, place your palms towards the sky. And on the exhale, just gently lean to your left. Feeling the stretch up the right side of the body. Take a few deep breaths here. Then inhale back up to center and exhale right. Inhale back up to center. Exhale left. Feeling the stretch up the right side, making sure that that right sit bone doesn't come off the mat. Inhale back up to center and exhale right. Inhale back up to center and exhale, slowly release your arms back by your side. Now take a deep inhale and really lengthen your spine. And on the exhale, just bring your chin to your chest. Take a few deep breaths here. And then on your next inhale, slowly roll your left ear towards left shoulder. And exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, left ear, left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Matching your breath to your movement. Inhaling and exhaling. And then on your next inhale, roll your right ear towards right shoulder. And exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, right ear, right shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. And then on your next inhale, make a complete circle. Inhaling on the way up and exhaling on the way down. Getting movement into the neck. And then we'll do 2 rounds in the opposite direction. And then come back to neutral spine. Take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And on the exhale, bring your right hand to your left knee, left hand behind you. And on the exhale, twist, looking over your left shoulder. Take a few deep breaths here. Release the twist. Inhale, your arms back overhead. And on the exhale, bring your left hand to your right knee, right hand behind your right glute. You're lengthening your spine. And on the exhale, twist, looking over your right shoulder. Take a few deep breaths here. The twist, inhale your arms back up overhead and exhale, slowly release your arms by your side. If you're sitting on a blanket, you can take that out now. And we're just going to place our hands on our knees. And we're going to do a few rounds of seated cat-cow. So on the inhale, bring your shoulders forward, arch your back, and arch your back and take your gaze up for cow. And then on the exhale, tuck your chin and really round your spine. Bring your shoulders forward for cat. So inhale, bring your shoulders back, arch your back, take your gaze up for cow. And then exhale, round your spine, bring your shoulders forward and tuck your chin. You can do 2 rounds with your own breath, getting movement into the spine, and then we'll come back to neutral spine. And we're going to work on our shoulders a bit. So if you have a strap, you can get that now. And what we're going to do is, you might not need the strap, but we're going to bring the strap in our right hand and just drop it down your back. Bring your left arm behind your back to grab the strap. So your right arm is over your right shoulder, your left arm is behind your back. And just try to walk your hands to see if you can get them together. Here. If you don't need this strap, you can take your right hand behind you, your left hand, and just interlace the fingers behind your back. So wherever you're at, you're just trying to get those shoulders open a bit here. And just do what's comfortable for you with the strap. See if you can work getting those hands a little closer together. And then just release your arms, shake them out. And then we're going to put the strap in our left hand. You can drape it over your back. Bring your right arm behind your back. See if you can walk those hands to get a little closer together. Opening up the chest here, working on the shoulders. And it's a process, so in time you'll get them closer together eventually, if they're not together now. And then you can release that right arm, release the left arm, and you can place the strap beside you. And now we're just going to go into shoulder rolls, so place your hands on your knees and just bring your shoulders forward, up, around, and down. Getting movement into the shoulders. You're inhaling forward and up, exhaling back and down. And then we'll do 2 rounds in the opposite direction. Inhaling back and up, exhaling forward and down. And then we'll come to stillness. We're going to extend our arms out in front of us. Your palms are facing each other. And then bring your left arm over your right. And then we're just going to bend at the elbows and bring the backs of the hands together. This is eagle arms here. We're going to just work on the arms here. For later, our balancing pose will be eagle. So if your arms are down and the backs of your hands are together and you find this comfortable, you can always bring your palms together for a more intense stretch in your shoulder blades. And you'll notice as you move your arms up, you're going to feel more tension in the shoulder blades. And then if you bring them down, it'll release that tension. But just bring them to what feels right for you. If you have problems with your shoulders, you can just skip this one. And then release your arms, shake them out. Bring your arms out in front of you, palms facing each other. Then bring your left arm under the right. Bring the backs of your arms, the backs of your hands together. Bend at the elbows. And then just gently begin to lower and raise, feeling the stretch in your upper back and your shoulder blades. Trying to breathe into that area to release the tension. And then release the arms, shake them out. And we're just going to extend our legs out in front of us. And we're going to go into staff pose. So you have a slight bend in your knees. Your feet are flexed. You're grounding down through your sit bones. Palms of your hands are flat on the mat. You're engaging your legs here, engaging your core, pressing your palms into the mat, lengthening the spine, reaching out through the crown of your head. Everything is engaged here, and just focus on your breath. And then release everything, relax. Take a deep inhale, lengthen your spine, and on the exhale, just begin to walk your hands forward for forward fold. When you can't go anymore, take a deep inhale, come up a little bit, and exhale, begin to fold. You have a slight bend in your knees to get you further into the forward fold. And then slowly walk your hands back to center. Bring the sole of your right foot into your left thigh, opening up that right hip. Take a deep inhale, lengthen your spine, and on the exhale, begin to walk your hands forward for forward fold. Keeping that right hip open. Inhale, come up a little bit, and exhale, fold. And slowly walk your hands back to center. Extend your right leg out, keeping your foot flexed. Bring the sole of the left foot into the right thigh. Keeping that right hip open. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, begin to walk your hands forward for forward fold. You can have a slight bend in that straight leg, not to overextend that right knee. Take a few deep breaths here. And slowly walk your hands back to center. And we're just going to bring the soles of our feet together for bound angle pose. And you're going to just roll out the arches of your feet. You can hold, your hands can be on your ankles or on your feet. And just gently butterfly your legs out to the sides. Opening up the hips, getting movement into your hips. And then bring your legs to stillness and take a deep inhale. Ground down through your sit bones, lengthen your spine. And on the exhale, begin to hinge from your hips forward. Keep lengthening the spine, reaching out for the crown of your head. You'll feel the stretch in the inner thighs. And then when you get halfway, stop. Engage your core, pull your belly button in. Take a few deep breaths here. And then slowly come back up to center. Bring your knees in. And we're going to go onto all fours. We're going to go into tabletop. If you need a blanket under your knees, you can do that now. So your shoulders are over your wrists, your hips are over your knees. And we're just going to inhale, extend that right foot back, going onto the ball of that foot. And just gently rock back and forth, loosening up that right calf. Your toes are spread, you're getting movement into the foot, the ankle, the calf. You're still engaging your core here. And then come to stillness, pressing the top of that left foot into the mat. Slowly raise that right leg level with your right hip. Engage your core. You can stay here, or you can extend your left arm out in front of you. Keeping it level with your shoulder. Your head is level with your arm. And your leg is level with your right hip. Working on balance here, working on core. If you want to add on the exhale, you can bring your elbow to knee, really rounding the spine, creating space. Inhale, you're lengthening. And exhale, round the spine, bring your elbow to knee. Match your breath to your movement. Then bring your hand back down to the mat, your knee back down, roll out that right wrist. You do whatever feels right for you. If you want to just work on balance, just work on lifting the leg or lifting the leg and arm without the movement. So listen to your body. Now we're going to do the other side. Extend that left leg back, left foot back, going onto the ball of the foot. And just gently rock back and forth. Loosening up the calf. And then come to stillness, pressing that top of the right foot into the mat. Engage your core and raise that left leg level with that left hip. You can stay here and work on balance, or you can extend that right arm out in front of you. Working on balance, engaging the core, reaching out through your fingertips, pushing out through your heel of your foot. If you want to add on the exhale, round your spine and bring your elbow to knee. You're inhaling and lengthening. Exhale, elbow to knee. Then bring your hand back down to the mat, your knee back down, roll out that left wrist. Now we're going to go into child's pose. So your big toes are overlapping, your knees are wider than hip distance apart. And just slowly bring your hips back towards your feet and lower your chest between your knees, bringing your forehead down to the mat. Your arms are out in front of you. If that's uncomfortable, you can have your arms behind you if it's too much on your shoulders. And just bring your focus back to your breath. Take a few deep breaths here. Now we'll come back into tabletop. And we're going to go into our first downward facing dog. So we're going to flip our toes and hover our knees. Engage your core here, engage your thighs. You're only about 6 inches off the mat. Then slowly shift your hips back and begin to straighten your legs. You can have a slight bend in your knees for the first downward facing dog. You can pedal out your feet. Go up on your toes and sink your heels down a little bit more. Your hips are high, pressing your chest towards your thighs. Your head is between your arms. Take a few deep breaths here. Then inhale and look up between your hands. And exhale, walk or step forward to a forward fold. So you have a slight bend in your knees. You're focusing on releasing that tension in your low back. You can hold opposite elbow to opposite hand, sway from side to side. Then release your hands and inhale, reach your arms up overhead, and exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, release. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana and mountain pose. Your feet are hip distance apart. You're grounding through all 4 corners of your feet. Your palms are facing forward, shoulder blades back and down. Your eyes can be opened or closed, and just bring your focus to your breath. Breathing in and out through your nose. And take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And exhale. With a flat back, begin to swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, slowly come up, reach your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. Now we're going to go into our sun salutations. So there are modifications for some of the poses for the sun salutations. So when we go into our plank pose, you can always come to your knees. So when we get there, I'll show you how you can modify the pose. So inhale, reach up, arms overhead. Lengthening the spine, take your gaze up for a slight back bend. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale to a half lift, flat back. So you want a flat back from your low back to the crown of your head. Your hands can either be on your calves or on your thighs with the bent arms, whatever gives you that flat back. Take a few breaths here. And now we're going to exhale into plank. So plant your hands, step back to plank. Engage your core, make sure your shoulders are over your wrists. To modify this pose, you can come to your knees and flip your feet. For modified plank, you're still working on your core, you're still working on strengthening your arms here. So whatever feels better for you, please do that now. Now from plank, we're going to come down to our forearms, engage your core for forearm plank. Then slowly lower your hips towards the mat, down to the mat. Flip your toes back, point your toes. Press your forearms and palms into the mat and take your gaze forward for Sphinx pose. Take a few deep breaths here, relaxing that low back, don't overextend it. Exhale down to the mat, flip your toes and push back to downward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths here. Inhale, look up between your hands. On the exhale, walk your feet to your hands for forward fold. Inhale, slowly come up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release your hands by your side. Inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, plank. Plant your hands, step back to plank, engage your core. You can come to your knees if you want and flip your toes. Pulling your belly button in, and then bring your arms, come to your forearms for forearm plank. You can be on your knees still or in full plank. Engaging your core here. Then slowly lower your hips down to the mat. Point your toes back, lifting your chest, pressing your forearm and palms into the mat for Sphinx pose. Take a few deep breaths here. Exhale down to the mat, flip your toes, push back to downward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths. Then inhale, look up between your hands. Exhale, walk or step forward, forward fold. Inhale, slowly come up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. One more. Inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, plank. Plant your hands, step back to plank. Engage your core. Make sure your shoulders are over your wrists. You can come to your knees if you want. Then come down to your forearms for forearm plank. Then lower your hips down to the mat. Point your toes and raise your chest for Sphinx pose. Your gaze is straight ahead. Your toes are pointed back. Your legs are engaged. Pressing your forearms and palms into the mat. Exhale back down to the mat. Flip your toes, push back to downward facing dog. Inhale, look up between your hands. Exhale, walk or step forward, forward fold. Inhale, slowly come up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana, focusing on our breath. We're going to come to the front of our mat, and we're just going to step our left foot back, and our toes are going to be pointing towards the left corner of our mat. We're going to go into Warrior One. So you want your toes, your foot's at a 45-degree angle. Your toes are facing the left corner of the mat. Put a bend in that front knee. And then just bring your arms to goalpost. Your hips are forward. Bring your arms to goalpost and take your gaze slightly up for a slight back bend. And then when you're ready, raise your arms up, palms facing each other for Warrior One. Take a few deep breaths here. Now we're going to go into a dynamic movement. We're going to inhale, really reach up through your fingertips, lengthening the spine. On the exhale, bring your arms out to the side, level with your shoulders. Then inhale, bring your arms in front of you, parallel, palms facing each other. And then bring your fingertips together, and on the exhale, bring them in towards your heart. And then inhale, raise them back up towards the sky. So take a few breaths and we'll start. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhale, bringing them out to the side. Inhale, arms parallel. Exhale, bring your fingertips in towards your heart. And inhale, back up. Now match your breath to your movement. We'll do 2 rounds and meet back in Warrior One. Bring your hands to heart center, and then interlace your fingers behind your back. If that's uncomfortable, just rest them on your low back. Bringing the shoulder blades back, your gaze is up. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, begin to fold forward for Humble Warrior. Going alongside that front leg, not laying on the front leg, engaging your core here to get deeper into the fold for Humble Warrior. Then using your core, slowly come back up. Release your hands, bring them to heart center, and step forward to Tadasana. Take a few deep breaths here. Now place your hands on your hips. We're going to step back with the right foot. We're doing the other side. So you step back with the right foot. Your toes are pointing towards the right corner of your mat. Your foot's at a 45-degree angle. Hips are forward, put a bend in that front knee. And then when you're ready, bring your arms to goalpost. Lift in the heart, take your gaze up for a slight back bend. And then raise your arms up towards the sky for Warrior One. Making sure that you're shoulders don't go up by your ears, so they're not up. Make sure that they stay down away from the ears. And now we'll go into a dynamic movement. Inhaling, reaching up towards the sky. Exhale, bring your arms out to the side. Inhale, bring your arms, palms parallel to each other in front of you. Fingertips together. Exhale the fingertips towards the heart. Inhale, reach up towards the sky. Exhale, arms out to the side. Inhale, arms in front of you. Exhale, fingertips to the heart. Inhale, reach up. We'll do 2 more rounds with our own breath and meet back in Warrior One. Bring your hands to heart center and interlace them behind your back. Bring the shoulder blades back and down. Your hands can be resting on your low back if that's uncomfortable. Take a deep inhale, take your gaze up, and on the exhale, begin to hinge forward to forward fold alongside that left leg for Humble Warrior. Using your core, slowly come back up to center. Release your hands, bring your hands to heart center, and step forward to Tadasana, to mountain pose. We'll take a few deep breaths here. We're going to go into a balancing poses here. So you want to find your focal point out in front of you, your drishti, to focus on for balance. Now make sure you're grounded through all 4 corners of your feet. And our first pose we're going to do is figure 4. So we're going to begin to shift our weight into that left leg. Put a slight bend in that left knee. And then bring your right ankle over the left knee. You can get a chair if you want and hold on to that, or go by a wall. And then bring your hands to heart center. And you can kind of play with this by bending the knee a little more and then straightening it. Focusing on some days the balance is there. If you fall out of it, you can come right back into it. Focusing on that point, making sure you're grounded in that standing leg. This is also, I heard, called one-legged chair. I was taught figure 4, but I guess there's a couple names for it. And then when you're ready to come out, straighten the leg, bring your knee forward and down, shake out the legs, and we'll do the other side. So ground down through all 4 corners of your feet. Find your focal point. Begin to shift your weight into that right leg. Put a slight bend in that right knee. Bring your left ankle over your right knee. Bring your hands to heart center. And just, you can bend that standing leg a little more or straighten it. Working on balance. And then when you're ready to come out, bring your knee forward and down and shake it out. Now our next balancing pose we're going to go into is eagle pose. So if you want, you can use books or a block to bring the floor up to you if you have trouble with the leg part of this. So we're going to start with the stands of the leg. So find your focal point, shift your weight into that left leg, and cross your right knee over your left. Your knees, you're slightly bent at the knees. You can use a block or you can use a book to bring it up, or if you want to just place your toes on the mat, you can. Whatever's easier for you. This is the leg part of it. You can just work on the legs if you want. You'll want to begin to lift your toes off the mat and just point them down towards the mat, or wrap them around that standing leg. So this is the bottom half of the pose. So we'll place our toes back on the mat, and then we'll extend our arms for the arm part of it. Extend your arms out in front of you, your palms facing each other. Bring your left arm over the right and bend at the elbows. So this is the arm part of the pose. So you can work, if you raise them up, you'll feel the stretch a bit more, or bring them down. And then you can begin to work on just lifting the toes. So whatever feels better for you, you can do that. And each side is different. And you're focusing on that stationary point. And release your arms. And release your foot back down to the mat. Shake your feet out. If you have a block or a book, place it on the outside of that right foot for the other side, or you can just go right down to the mat. So begin to shift your weight into that right leg. Cross your left knee over the right. And it's almost as if you're sitting in a chair. Your knees are starting to bend. It'll make it easier to balance. And then extend your arms out in front of you. And place your right arm over your left. And then the back of your hands together. And you can work on raising those toes, maybe wrapping them around that standing leg. Focusing on that stationary point. Having a bend in the knees will make it a little easier also to balance. And release your arms and bring that left foot back down to the mat and shake it out. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana and mountain pose. Down to the mat, and we're going to get there through Malasana, through squat pose. So your feet can be a little wider stand, so they can be about hip distance apart. If your toes are facing out a bit, your knees can follow your toes, not to jeopardize your knees. Bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, just begin to bend your knees into squat. If your heels begin to lift, stop there. If you do get down to the mat, you can place your elbows between your knees to open up your hips a little more. Just take a few deep breaths here. Bring our hands to the mat and come to seated. And we're going to place our hands behind our back. with your fingertips pointing towards your glutes. You're engaging your core here, and your feet are together. Now we're just going to lift, point our toes onto the mat, and alternating legs. You have a slight bend in your elbows here back, engaging your core. We're going to alternate legs, just lifting and placing our toe back on the mat. Lifting the left leg and placing it back onto the mat. Engaging your core here. Inhale and exhale. Now we're going to keep our feet together, flat on the mat, and we're just going to bring our hands to each side of our knees. They're parallel, your palms are facing each other, and you're reaching towards the front of the mat, leaning back, engaging your core here. And just hold, and then bring your hands back down to the mat. And now we're just going to lift both feet together, keeping your feet together and keeping them straight out. Leaning back, using your core, lifting your legs. If you're shaking, that means your muscles are working. And then bring your feet back down to the mat. So we're going to go into boat pose. And if you want to just do your arms or your feet, you can do either or if you want to do both for boat pose, we'll start with our hands out in front of us, reaching forward. And then when you're ready, using your core, extend your legs out in front of you for boat pose. You're drawing a line down the center of your body, using that energy to hold you up. And then release everything back down to the mat. And we'll do one more. So extend your arms out in front of you, engaging your core, keeping your feet together. Extend your feet out. Strong legs, strong arms, strong core. Everything's engaged here. And then come back down to the mat. So now we're going to come into staff pose. And we're just going to go into our forward fold. So take a deep inhale, really ground down through your sit bones. And on the exhale, just begin to walk your hands forward for forward fold. With each inhale, come up a little bit, and on the exhale, fold, releasing that tension in the low back, slight bending your knees to get you further into the fold. Take a few deep breaths here. Slowly walk your hands back to center. And we're going to go onto our backs. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. And place your feet flat on the mat, hip distance apart. See if you can feel your heels. You get them close to your glutes. Then tuck your shoulder blades under. Your palms are flat on the mat. Make sure, we're going to go into rolling bridge, so make sure your knees don't fall out to the sides of the mat. So we're going to take a deep inhale and begin to lift your hips up towards the sky. This is counterbalancing the boat pose and all the forward folds. And then on the exhale, just begin to lower your hips back down towards the mat. And inhale, press your soles of your feet, your palms, shoulder blades into the mat. Really squeeze the glutes when you get up there. And exhale, slowly come back down to the mat. And one more inhale, raise your hips up. Once you get your hips up there, stay up there. And see if you can walk your feet towards your shoulders a little more. You can interlace your fingers behind your back, tucking your shoulders under a bit more. You can go up on your toes if you want, really squeezing your glutes here. This is a really good pose. As you get older, you're always forward, coming forward as opposed to arching the back. So this is really good. And come back to the soles of your feet, release your hands, and slowly lower back down to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. And extend your legs long on the mat. Your arms are by your side, palms are flat on the mat. We're going to work on our core. We're going to point our toes, and we're just going to raise our right leg about 6 inches off the mat. So inhale and point your toes. 1, 2, 3. Flex your foot, hold, using your core, and lower. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do 2 more times on our right leg. Point your toes. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Flex, hold, and lower. 1, 2, 3. One more. Point right foot. Inhale, raise. 1, 2, 3. Flex, push out through that heel, hold, engage your core, and lower. 1, 2, 3. Now we'll do the left leg. Point your toes. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Flex, hold, and lower. 1, 2, 3. Left leg, point. Inhale, raise. 1, 2, 3. Flex, hold, and lower. 1, 2, 3. Left leg, point. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Flex, hold, and lower. 1, 2, 3. Now you can continue doing one leg at a time, or if you want to do both legs at the same time, really engage your core here. Use your core to help you raise your legs. Point your toes. Inhale, lift. 1, 2, 3. Flex, hold, and lower. 1, 2, 3. No strain on the neck, no strain on the back. Using your core, point your toes. Inhale, lift. 1, 2, 3. Flex, hold, and lower. 1, 2, 3. Last one. Point. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Flex, hold, and lower. 1, 2, 3. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. Extend your arms out to the side and slowly roll onto your left hip, keeping your shoulder blades flat on the mat. and taking your gaze over your right fingertips. Take a few deep breaths here. Then inhale back up to center. And on the exhale, slowly roll onto your right hip, keeping your shoulder blades flat on the mat, and take your gaze over your left fingertips. Inhale back up to center. Hug your knees into your chest. And then slowly extend your feet up towards the sky for legs up the wall. Palms are flat on the mat. You can point and flex your feet. And hug your knees into your chest. And we'll get ready for Shavasana. So for Shavasana, you can have the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall out to the sides of the mat for a reclined bound angle pose, and your hands are away from your body. Or you can extend your feet, your legs long on the mat, have your palms facing up, and just gently close your eyes. Let your feet fall out to the corners of the mat. And just bring your focus back to your breath. Relaxing your forehead. Relaxing your eyes. Remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth. And just bring your focus to your breath. Relax your shoulders, your upper arms, your forearms, all the way to the tips of your fingers. Relax your chest, your abdomen, your hips. Relax the front of your thighs, your knees, your shins. Relax your ankles, the tops of your feet, all the way to the tips of your toes. Relax the soles of your feet, the backs of your calves, the backs of your thighs. Relax your low back, mid back, and upper back. Relax the back of your shoulders, the back of your neck, all the way to the crown of your head. Continue your breath past the crown of your head, all the way past the tips of your toes. A continuous flow of air. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes and move your head from side to side, putting movement back into the body. When you're ready, roll on to your favorite side. With your eyes closed, come up to seated position. Hands at heart center, thumbs at your sternum, slate bow to your head. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. time. I hope you enjoyed the class. If you have any questions, please send us a message. Have a great day.